In recent years, we have seen a rise in the popularity of YouTube boxing. This has been fueled by the participation of popular YouTubers such as KSI, Logan Paul, and Jake Paul, who have taken to the ring to fight against each other. The fights have been marketed as entertainment events, with millions of fans tuning in to watch the spectacle. On the one hand, this has brought a new audience to the sport of boxing. Fans who were previously uninterested in boxing are now tuning in to watch these fights, which has led to increased interest in the sport. In addition, these events have brought in significant revenue, with tickets and pay-per-view sales generating millions of dollars. However, many argue that the participation of YouTubers in boxing is tarnishing the sport's reputation. Critics argue that these fights are not real boxing matches, but rather glorified sparring sessions. They argue that YouTubers do not have the same level of skill or training as professional boxers, and that these fights are not legitimate. The rise of YouTube boxing has had a significant impact on the sport of boxing. On the one hand, it has brought in new fans and generated significant revenue. However, it has also had some negative effects on the sport. One of the main criticisms of YouTube boxing is that it lowers the standards of the sport. Critics argue that these fights are not legitimate, and that the involvement of YouTubers is an insult to the sport of boxing. They argue that it undermines the hard work and dedication that professional boxers put into their training and preparation. In addition, there is concern that the focus on entertainment rather than the sport itself is having a negative impact on the quality of boxing. Critics argue that the fights are being staged purely for entertainment purposes, and that the focus is on drama rather than skill. On the other hand, supporters of YouTube boxing argue that it is bringing new fans to the sport, and that it is a positive thing overall. They argue that the events are fun, and that they are a great way to introduce new fans to the sport of boxing. They also point out that the revenue generated from these events can be used to support professional boxing, and that this can only be a good thing for the sport. YouTube boxing has been both positive and negative for the sport of boxing. While it has brought in new fans and generated significant revenue, it has also lowered the standards of the sport and created concerns about the focus on entertainment over skill. Ultimately, the impact of YouTube boxing on boxing as a whole is yet to be fully understood, and it remains to be seen whether it will continue to grow in popularity or fade away over time. However, one thing is clear. The debate about whether YouTubers are ruining boxing is likely to continue for some time to come. The traditional boxing community has raised concerns about the rise of YouTube boxing. They argue that YouTubers who have no prior experience in the sport are taking away opportunities from young boxers who have dedicated their lives to the sport. In addition, they argue that these YouTube boxing matches are a farce and that they are not true representations of the sport. Another argument is that YouTubers are lowering the quality of boxing matches. YouTubers often have little to no experience in boxing, and the matches they participate in are not up to the standards of professional boxing matches. This is not only a disservice to the sport, but to the fans who expect high-quality matches. YouTubers are seen as a threat to the integrity of the sport. There are concerns that these matches are staged and the outcomes are predetermined, which goes against the principles of fair play and honesty in the sport. However, YouTubers are bringing in new money to the sport. These matches are not only lucrative for the fighters, but also for the promoters, who can sell tickets and pay-per-view subscriptions. This money can be used to invest in the sport and support young boxers who are starting their careers.